Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
Scene looks decent outside of Lumen Field right now. Watching Fox 9, the pregame has begun for the United States round of 16 match against Belgium in the World Cup. The scene looks a little lively, Brett. How much FOMO do you have?
A ton of FOMO. I think there was circulation. There was talk of maybe doing a stripe out, trying to get a college football vibe that I saw on. Yep. By the looks of it, I don't think it's going to happen.
There's two guys in the same kit that you're wearing. That could be you. They were just standing right there. That could be you.
If they win, I just got offered a place to stay in L.A. for the game against Spain. That's what it sounded like.
Oh, Trudell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's got room for you.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, he's definitely got room for you. We're going to do two segments of Top 5 because we went long with Mike Trudell from Lakers.com to talk about LeBron and talk about the World Cup. I will say quickly, in these divided times, it's hard to find unanimity on anything that we talk about on the radio, that people talk about their family gatherings. I always say, like, Thanksgiving and holidays, you don't talk politics, you don't talk about the Rudy Gobert trade. Like, it's just too dangerous. You can't do anything. I have yet to receive any feedback that is not glowingly and universally positive about the bumper-to-bumper decision to enlist Brett Blakemore as our World Cup correspondent. Covenant claps for Brett Blakemore. I'm not just blowing smoke. Everybody, because I wouldn't do that, obviously.
Well, you did just say 2 minutes ago, I'm here and you're there for a reason. So you're balancing it out.
Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
Oh, weird. Everybody I talk to goes, Brett is incredible as your World Cup correspondent. And I say, yeah, he is. That's what we expected. That's why we had him in. We thought this is good. This is the perfect role for Brett Blakemore, and you've delivered. And I hope you've enjoyed not just on our show, obviously, because you have your own show, Worst Case Scenario, and you've been with all the guys. Mm-hmm. But Covenant claps, bumper-to-bumper claps.
I hope it doesn't end today.
Well, that's kind of why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting ahead of it in case we don't have time to preview another USA match because they fall to Belgium tonight. But you are the World Cup correspondent. You are the leader of the Top 5 at 5. You are there for a reason. Yes. It's a good one.
This is the A topic to do Top 5 at 5.
Ooh.
It's Monday Night Football. Well, Monday Night Soccer. It's a huge match, and a statement has been put out with 1,000 different statements. So Trump put out a statement. He had a press conference. Then the president of FIFA put out a statement. Then Belgium put out 16 statements. But here's the statement that matters that just came out not too long ago. It's a statement from the chairperson of the FIFA Disciplinary Committee.
Ooh.
Now, it's a 13-point statement. I'm not going to read all 13.
Yeah, maybe do the Cliff Notes.
11 of them are basically saying, here's the rule, here's Article 27, and we can do whatever we want. But here's the last point that I thought was I don't know, humorous. Point 13. Reviewing the legal consequences of red cards in football is nothing new in the modern game. For instance, the majority of the top-tier leagues belonging to UEFA, that's the European governing body.
Thank you.
Who also put out a statement saying this is
UEFA's bitter. Yeah,
they're very bitter.
Yes, UEFA's bitter.
So this is them saying, oh yeah, UEFA, watch this. So it says, for instance, in the majority of the top-tier leagues belonging to UEFA-affiliated member associations, the overturning of red cards is common disciplinary measure. Yet this has never raised concerns about crossing any red line. And again, it should be emphasized that the decision under scrutiny, the red card was not overturned. We're suspending the effects of a red card based on an explicit provision of the applicable regulations is a much more balanced measure. So basically, to translate, we can do what we want.
Yeah.
Everyone shut the hell up. Everyone suck it.
Well, okay.
Am I wrong?
Well, no, but here's my follow-up question. So does this mean that at some point he's going to sit out a match? Like, is he going to sit out a friendly at Allianz?
So
at some point, is he going to be suspended?
The way that I understand it through all this legalese is that it's basically you're on a probation period where if you get another red card, that becomes 2. But if you don't in that year window, then it just goes away.
Interesting.
That's my understanding of it.
Okay, well, we'll take it. The important part is he's playing tonight.
Correct. And we're going to find out in a half hour, and we'll be on the air at 5:45. That's when the lineups come out. So most likely he's going to be starting.
Well, why wouldn't he? I've heard, I don't know who it was, if it was Pierre or if it was Trudell that said, we'll see if he's starting or not. Isn't he like our best player? Or he's been our most effective player.
He's our best scorer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you need to score.
Yeah, the fan has learned.
Yes,
that does
as
help.
part of the game, you do need goals. So what would keeping him on the bench to start the game do? Is it a good time? Or is there such a thing as, I know subs kind of come in late and there's different matchups and fresh legs and the whole deal, but why would he, what possible, has he come off the bench in any other match that we've had here recently?
No.
Yeah.
The only argument you could make is, well, they've spent 3 days preparing to play without him, so now you're playing with, maybe just stick to the game plan. You spent 3 days. To me, that's, your best player should be out on the pitch.
Yes.
So, yeah, you start him. And I'm sure they will. The other argument that people are making is we should not start him out of fairness.
That's dumb.
Out of equity.
Yeah, no, that's dumb.
Nope. No thanks.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Let's see. So that's the big storyline. That will be heard right here on the Fan pregame right after we're done at 6:30. The lineups will come out at 5:45, so we can talk about that if you want. I will be right in the middle of Johnny Athletics, so maybe not.
All right, let's do the cash contest, and then we'll come back and do the rest. Do we have anything printed out?
No, they're...
Okay, just wanted to make sure I wasn't forgetting anything.
Okay, yep.
Because
next week.
Usually when you get in this chair, you forget the cash contest, right? I mean, it's just, I do it every time. It's amazing. I come in here and I forget it. And when I'm sitting where you are, I'm annoyed that Dan forgets it. But there's a lot going on over here.
Yeah, there's no cash contest. Next week, everyone's pumped about the return.
It is coming back.
Yeah.
All right.
How about it?
So we got more to get to in the top 5 at 5. Don't forget, John Krasinski's coming up at the bottom of the hour for the latest on the LeBron Watch.
Justin Garr. Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barreiro's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
Johnny Athletic in 10 minutes, part 2 of the top 5 at 5, led by Brett Blakemore now.
So we talked about USA, Belgium, pregame 6:30, puck drop at 7. They don't do the 7:23 bit. You'll hear all that right here on the Fan. But earlier today, while we were on, Spain beats Portugal, and that's important for the U.S. because they play the winner of that, so they will get Spain, who is a very, very good and scary team, in the next round should they beat Belgium today.
Looked like Portugal had some pretty meaty opportunities late in the match.
Yeah.
Including two, like, point-blank shots in the final minute. Can I ask you a dumb soccer question?
Go ahead.
How come they haven't come up with a better mechanism with the extra time or the injury time? You know how they just say +6?
Yeah.
How come they can't just give us a legitimate countdown?
Because it's about the vibes. There's really no good answer. It's stupid. It's really dumb. They should just have a countdown. But they'll give them grace. Like if, let's say it's someone's chasing the game and it's 2-1. And they're attacking, and there's corners, and they're just all over them. They'll go over the time just to let it play out until the other team clears it, and then they'll blow it dead.
Oh, yeah.
So it's more of like, we'll let this attack stand no matter how long it goes, and the second it's over, game's done.
That's why you're the World Cup correspondent, because I have vivid memories of like every match that's ended. It's like a big, long, clear kick, and then the horn blows.
Correct.
That's why.
It's a vibes thing. It makes no sense, but that's why they do it.
That's hilarious, though.
Yeah.
It's just all about the vibes, whatever they're feeling.
Yeah, if it's over.
Who blows the horn? The official?
The referee does.
The guy on
official.
The main official who's in charge of the cards and everything?
They'll blow it 3 times, and that's that.
Wow.
Yep. By the way.
Because I thought they went a little over. Sorry to interrupt you. In the match today, because they had like a free kick.
Yeah.
And it was right around, it was like 6 minutes of stoppage time, and they were at the 96-minute mark. But that's an example of they're going to let them run that play.
Let's see what happens.
Do that set piece. Do a 5 check.
Yeah.
And then go. Okay.
It's silly, but that's why they do it.
I mean, it's worked for
Ronaldo.
him.
Yeah. Well,
it's worked for him, so they don't need my approval. It's just, somebody brought that up. I think Zach Lowe on Simmons' podcast. It's like, how can we just not know the time?
Yeah.
If you have the stoppage time.
Well, and then they stop it in stoppage time. So they account for that, and then you never know what that time is. I suppose
it's inevitable that you couldn't really narrow it down to the second.
It is really silly.
All right, so check the vibes late tonight.
By the way, Spain has not conceded a goal this entire tournament.
Really?
They have not given up 1 goal this tournament. So if we do get past Belgium, which is questionable, It was 0-0 against Cape Verde. It was 4-0 against Saudis. It was 1-0 against Uruguay. It was 3-0 against Austria, and it was 1-0 today against Portugal. So have fun with that. More World Cup. Really, feel free. We can do LeBron watch if you want. DeRozan was weighed by the Kings.
The Twins won the series in New York for the first time in forever, including 2 pretty authoritative wins. I saw not 1 second or 1 pitch of either one of the games that they won. But they won 6-1 yesterday. They won 11-4 a couple of days ago. People in New York are bitter. It's worth mentioning. They're only 3 games under 500 now, below 500. If I had more time, if we didn't have so much going on today, I mentioned I was just in Wisconsin. Like the polar opposite vibes. Milwaukee and Minneapolis, would you agree, are kind of similar cities?
They're upper Midwestern cities.
Yeah, but in terms of size and marketplace,
sure.
Like Minneapolis is bigger than Milwaukee, which I think is actually worse when you factor in that, like, all the Brewers do is win.
Yeah, and I'm not a Milwaukee guy either.
I know.
I don't. Brewers, do nothing for me.
But Bucks. You just look at their record, 55-33. They're 6 games ahead of the Cubs in the Central Division. They've got a great pitcher. They put money into the team. They've made big trades for guys like CC Sabathia.
What'd you put money
into the team? I know.
Team?
It's confusing.
Oh.
It's confusing. But you just look at, because they are a small market team like us. And I haven't gone through, it just feels like they're always much more of a factor. And they take bigger swings. No pun intended. And just the vibe around them. It's all my Wisconsin relatives wanted to talk about was the Brewers and baseball. I'm like, hey, the World Cup's going on, all right? I'm a football guy now. All right? The U.S. has Belgium. We got to figure out if Balogun's going to be able to play or not. Like, I can't worry about the Brew Crew, okay? We're happy for the Brew Crew. But they're in it. They're invested because the team is invested and they've been good. It's just, I always, the Bucks winning the title. Like, it showed it's possible. For a smaller market team, a mid-major team, so to speak, to be able to do it, and we just have never been able to crack it.
Did you watch any of Mexico-England last night at Azteca?
I did. I feel like I fell asleep for like the greatest parts. I watched the dueling penalty kicks, and then I fell asleep because I woke up to like 50 texts, including from Ian Leonard, our other World Cup correspondent, who's a fan of England because that's where his parents are from. Went to a match in New Jersey a couple of weeks ago. It was epic, right? It was unbelievable. And even the parts I saw were outstanding. The Azteca, good luck.
Yeah.
Pack a lunch.
They haven't lost a competitive game there in 13 years.
I can see why. How do you feel? How have we grandfathered in the behavior of the Mexican fans, the Mexico fans, in terms of the serenade, as Lavelle has told us that's what it's called? Where they go to the opposing team's hotel and just keep them up all night? Why are we okay with that? And we just kind of go, Team Mexico. That's just part of the experience. You go down there. They went to like 13 different hotels. England tried to throw them off the scent. Of course, they still found it. I mean, you're not going to be able to keep it secret. You're a national soccer team.
Yeah, there was police outside.
Yeah, there's going to be some tells. You ride in buses, I think. So... But how do we feel about that generally, that's just the accepted, they can light fireworks off, they can make as much noise as they want outside of the hotel? I don't love that as much.
My personal taste on that is that, and you see that a lot in Europe too, like, my club team that I follow, if they play a big game in France in the Champions League, they're going to do the same thing outside their stadium, outside their hotel.
So that's just part of the bit, huh?
That's part of the bit. The stuff I don't like is when England scored, all 3 of them, garbage just rained down from the crowd.
Yes.
They do that every game.
Yes.
They do that against the U.S. That's the stuff. And then there's also some problematic chants that they do as well.
Really?
So, Mexico fans are not to be not a good role model for fans, I would say.
Yeah, it sounds... Bill Simmons talked about it. I brought up this podcast 50 times today, but he mentioned he went to a U.S.-Mexico friendly in like 2009, and he said his opinion was basically... The approach there is to make you feel as less safe as humanly possible when you're there as an opposing fan. And the England fans, God bless them, because they had that little pocket right behind the net, and that's where they sang Wonderwall after, which was awesome. You could barely hear it because there weren't that many of them. That takes cojones to jump into that belly of the beast.
Well, they're used to that type of stuff.
I suppose. Yeah. It's just another match.
Yeah, It's just not good. And they've been doing this for years, and it's not good stuff. I mean, there was last time the U.S. played a huge game against Mexico, there were fights, and Weston McKennie's shirt got ripped off. There was garbage thrown everywhere.
I don't love that.
It's a standard operating procedure.
Yeah, which I don't like it in Philly for the NFL.
Correct.
Like, we just kind of grandfather. Yeah, Philly.
Well, what are you gonna
do? Don't wear opposing stuff. Like, really? That's what we are? I don't know. I don't love it, but I guess I'm just gonna have to get over it. Anything else?
Jonny K around the corner.
I love it. Love the tease. Good job, per usual. Brett Blakemore in the top 5 at 5. John Krasinski. How much longer are we going to have to wait to buy our number 23 LeBron James Timberwolves uniforms in the new uniform that was unveiled just a few weeks ago?
In for
Jonny Athletic. And he's on with Dan Barreiro right now.
No, Mike Trudeau is not Mike Lindell, and this is not John Krasinski from The Office. He is John Krasinski from The Athletic. We call him Johnny Athletic, and he's on the Connecticut Water Systems hotline right now, thanks to RBC Wealth Management. Happy 4th of July. Johnny, did you get to stay outside at all, or were you inside on LeBron watch for the entire weekend?
No, it was a nice weekend. I was out on the lake with the family, doing some tubing, doing some fishing, kind of, doing some s'mores by the campfire. Tried to do as much Americana as we could on the 250th birthday. Yeah, there was a little bit of excitement on Friday night when I had to kind of put out a report. But other than that, we were able to kind of keep our wits about us, which was really, really nice.
Thanks a lot, by the way. I did text you offline that I wake up, groggy from the night before, sleeping on a couch, aunt and uncle's cabin, and I'm just immediately hit with the Johnny Athletic breakdown from my brothers-in-law about LeBron and where everything stands. But you got to do what you got to do, right? You don't do clickbait, as you said. You can only report what you can report.
That's right. I mean, look, whenever the team that you cover is in on a LeBron James sweepstakes, it's got to be, all chips in the middle of the table from a coverage standpoint. And when that team that you cover is the Minnesota Timberwolves, who for most of their existence had been the losingest franchise in North American sports history, and just a constant source of dysfunction and haplessness. Like, now they're in the running for either the best or the second best player in the league, in the league's history. I think you got to throw everything you got at it. And so when I got some information that kind of popped into me on Friday night, it's not the ideal time to push something out, but I don't make those decisions. I just report the news when it comes.
So where do we stand right now?
Yeah, right now I would say the Timberwolves, and I think if you look at some of the reporting from Cleveland and Philadelphia and Miami and elsewhere, I think that everybody is just in a bit of a holding pattern. The Timberwolves have been very aggressive in communicating with LeBron James' camp about what they are willing to do, about what they can provide for him from an opportunity to win, for teammates who can take some of the load off, and also how much they need him to help them take the next level, the next step. And so they've really just thrown the kitchen sink at LeBron James representatives and just said, hey, we are ready for him, and this would be the best spot for him. And as far as I know, they have not been told no yet from LeBron James, that they are still very much under consideration. Do I think that they believe they're in the kind of front of the line? No, I don't think so. But they're still in it because they haven't been told no, and so everyone waits with bated breath right now.
That's kind of where I wanted to go next, because earlier in the week, everybody has said, and you even tweeted it out, we all have kind of gone into on this eyes wide open. You can make a legitimate case for why he should come here, the Minnesota Timberwolves, why it makes sense basketball-wise, legacy-wise, fit-wise, all of it. But everybody kind of knows the deal that it'd be foolish to call the Timberwolves the favorite. Did anything change at all in terms of how they view themselves in this sweepstakes from maybe early in the week last week to when you put that information out on Friday? Or do they kind of still have the same original feelings that they had about their chances?
Yeah, no, I would say it has evolved, Guardsy. Now, right now, it feels kind of like they are, in this sweepstakes for the lottery, and you're just like, I can't imagine we're going to win this, right? They're telling themselves, it's a long shot, and it is. It is a long shot, but I do think that the reason that I reported on Friday what I did is that there has been belief within the organization that they are getting an absolutely full audience and full consideration, that this is not some sort of dog and pony show, that they are not being used for, a documentary or, being, just kind of patted on the head and placated, that there is and was a belief that they are getting the real consideration, which I think is notable. That they've put their best foot forward. They've said, "Hey, come play with Ant, come play with LaMelo and Jaden and Rudy and Io and all of these guys, and we will give you the best chance to win." And Alex Rodriguez has a good relationship with Rich Paul. So does Tim Connolly, and so I think they are trying to leverage all of that to really put their kind of hat in the ring, and they believe they're in there. And that's, to me, notable. I don't think any of this is just optics right now. And so whether they end up winning the sweepstakes or not, I really do believe that there's been a period here over the last 4 to 5 days where they thought, hey, we've really got a shot here. And so that's really notable.
What did you make of the whiteboard with Rich Paul and Max Kellerman? I watched it. I listened to most of it. I listened to the episode today that they put out. Not a ton new, 4th of July weekend stuff, the whole deal. What was, as a guy who reports on this stuff and probably knows the inner workings of that kind of stuff, what did you make of that whole episode and that whole scene?
I mean, like, unprecedented, honestly, to have the agent of an incredibly sought-after player just going on a podcast, even though it's his own, so clearly they benefited from it,
Yep.
But then really having a real conversation about all of the teams that are involved and the pros and the cons of it. And I thought it was really enlightening to me. And that honestly sort of expedited my reporting on it, because it came out, I want to say, Friday morning, right? And
Yep.
the Wolves are on the whiteboard. You have 4 names from the Timberwolves, so they're like prominently displayed within their consideration of Rich Paul and LeBron James. And so that, I think, in and of itself validated what the Timberwolves were doing and what impression the Wolves have made. I mean, I've covered this team for 22 years. I can't tell you how many times over that period where I've called an agent and said, hey, are the Wolves in on this? Nah, we're not coming to Minnesota. No, this is ridiculous. We would never do that. And just been told that over and over again. And then here is LeBron James' agent with the Wolves in one of the most prominent positions on that whiteboard and talking everyone through it. I think I don't blame any Wolves fan for getting excited looking at that and saying, holy cow, like this is something real. And kudos again to Rich Paul, because when he did that, the world didn't stop. Nothing fell apart. No one got out of the running that was going to be in it. Like, these were, you don't have to have everything be cloak and dagger about it. I thought it was really refreshing just to see real conversation about all of it laid out for us.
Who's your betting money on?
I've kind of waffled back and forth. I think if I had to, and again, I don't ever bet. I just don't have the stomach for it. But if I had to, I would probably lean ever so slightly toward Cleveland, even though I don't like that as a basketball spot for him really at all. But just when you think about, he's got this documentary thing that's going on, if he's going to play 1 or 2 more years, ending up at home, like all the stuff going on there, that seems to be the one that might be just a little bit ahead, though. I'm watching Philadelphia closely too. I mean, after they got Jaylen Brown, all of a sudden they have a roster full of talent that's really intriguing, and Tyrese Maxey is a clutch client. And so I look at those 2 situations as kind of maybe slight leaders, and this is just me guessing. I don't have any inside knowledge on what LeBron is thinking, on what Rich Paul is thinking, but I do believe that the Wolves are in it, and that they, I don't know if they're top 3, top 2, top 4, whatever it is, but I think they're right there, if they're not maybe just a half step behind 1 or 2 teams.
Do we have any indication, any knowledge, any speculation on when this decision might come down? I had Trudell on about an hour and a half ago, and he said it'll probably be a minute. LeBron likes to slow play it. It'll probably be a little while. I think Rich Paul even said over the weekend that he doesn't expect anything in the next couple of days. So that allowed everybody, I think, to enjoy the fireworks for at least a day. So what do you think? Because there's a lot of guys still out there and a lot of backup plans to get to, I would imagine. Or is LeBron just not backup plannable? Whatever, LeBron is his own entity, and then any other plans, you just kind of move forward with those as they go. What do you think for the timeline?
Yeah, I mean, totally guessing. I would say it's not imminent. I don't expect a resolution in the next day or two. And when you look at where the rest of the league is at free agency wise, there's not a whole lot of players out there, I think, that are waiting for LeBron, or a lot of teams waiting. I think, for instance, if the Timberwolves miss out on LeBron, I think that they're just going to largely go forward with a plan of Jaden at the 4, maybe Terrence Shannon Jr. up there, and kind of mix and match, at least early in the season, and then see if another trade opens up in December, January, February, somewhere like that. I don't think that they are sitting back and saying, man, if we have to go do something with DeMar DeRozan or with somebody else, and we risk losing him if we wait for LeBron too long. So I think most of these teams in it, you saw San Antonio went and got Tobias Harris, so they're out of it. Right. The teams who are wanted to move on have already moved on, and the teams who are sitting here waiting don't really have any other things that they really need to get done. And so I think that, LeBron sounds like it's going to take his time and work through things and give this long and hard thought before he makes a decision. And I do think, Guardsy, that the longer this takes, I would think the better this is for Minnesota, because let's make no mistake, it's a hard sell for the Timberwolves.
For sure.
The winter's here, and, he doesn't have experience playing for Finch, and he's never, played in Minnesota. And yes, he loves Anthony Edwards, but there are a lot of moving pieces here. And so, if it goes long, maybe he's really mulling this over. Maybe he really is thinking, gosh, can I spend a year in Minnesota? Can I get through that winter? Can I do this or that? And if he was going to take the Warriors, why wouldn't he have already done it? If he was going to take Cleveland, why wouldn't he have already done it? That's what I just wonder about in trying to read tea leaves.
Jonny Athletic making his weekly appearance on Bumper to Bumper. Guardsy in today. Dan will be back tomorrow. World Cup correspondent Brett Blakemore will join at the top of the hour. Oh, do you want to get to the breaking news in terms of not LeBron, but in terms of the lineup for tonight's match, Brett?
Yes, there is breaking news. It should probably warrant this, although we already knew it was probably coming. Florin Balogun starts for Team USA today. It's pretty much the exact same lineup that they've rolled out pretty much every time except the Turkey game where they play all the backups. It's the same lineup that you know and love. The interesting thing for Belgium and their lineup, the 2 best players that we said, look out for these guys, both start on the bench for Belgium. They are not starting either one of them, that being Doku and De Bruyne, which tells me either they're playing the long game, they want to bring them on late on to have them full stamina, or they think this is going to be a walkover.
All right.
One of the two.
All right, more on that in the top of the hour. Now, be honest, Jonny, because a lot of my friends and people in my life, they've been texting me about the LeBron thing and the possibilities and all of that. I feel like your anticipation is a little bit different because you cover the team. Be honest, that you have the framework of the oral history, how it happened, LeBron James to Minnesota, written out in your head, at least, if not already kind of put pen to paper on how you're going to format that.
Yeah, I'll say this. This is not unique to me. I can guarantee that every writer in every market that is a potential for LeBron has some sort of LeBron James is coming to X place, story ready to go. That if it happens, you make a couple tweaks, you get it out there because the masses are so thirsty for it. And so I have a basic story put together, but I will say that it's been interesting. You know, you talk to people behind the scenes about this, and there is a bit of almost superstition, I think, that plays into this, where, you know, everyone's playing it close to the vest, but they also don't want to jinx anything. And so I think that a lot of the details of the pitch, of, you know, what they're trying to sell, like I know the bullet points, but I don't know a lot of the real color behind it. I think only that will come out if they get good news from LeBron in the end. And so I will say, as a journalist, as a storyteller, I am licking my chops and waiting, because if it does happen, it's going to be an epic tale, and it's only going to start, and then it'll go through the whole season, and shoot, it might be a book for all I know. But I just am kind of like sitting back and rubbing my hands together and, you know, hoping that it comes, because I would love to cover such an amazing story. And I know that as soon as it does happen, I would get 17 phone calls from people that have been ducking me for a couple of weeks, ready to talk about what went right and what, you know, and how they got it. And it would be, I'm sure, a very good story to tell.
Jonny Walkoff would be ready. Jonny Walkoff would be ready for sure.
You got that right.
We've gotten this text a couple of different times, and if you have text questions for Jonny, 64686, Bradshaw and Brian, KFAN text line, wondering about Rui Hachimura, who signed. We can't get him. Some people are going, hey, why can't they just pivot and go for him? Well, he's signing with the Clippers, 2 years, I think 14 each, which is pretty big money, I think, money that the Wolves don't have. So it's your contention, too, that these two are unrelated, and given the money he got, that was probably an unrealistic target for the Wolves in the first place.
Yeah, and I'll even admit to slightly misreading the market on Rui, because I thought that there was a scenario where the market would really dry up, and Rui would have to maybe take a 1-year prove-it deal to reestablish his value and going back into free agency next year. And if that were the case, coming here to Minnesota and starting at power forward for a team that expects to win a lot of games, I think would be a very palatable idea for Rui Hachimura. I do think that there were fans of Rui within the organization, within the Wolves team, that would have loved to see him come here. But talking to people around Rui over the last couple of days, it became clear to me that no, they were going to be able to get something done at a much higher number, and that, you know, Rui was never going to consider playing here for the minimum, just like I don't expect DeMar DeRozan to consider playing in Minnesota for the minimum as well. And that's all really the Wolves have to offer, you know, to those two guys. And so it never really turned out to be much of anything of a possibility for Rui to get here, unfortunately, even though he would have been an amazing fit for the Wolves in that power forward spot.
So on the money stuff, we got a text about this. What's the money LeBron they would be comfortable paying LeBron here? I know it's not a money situation. That's what they claim, but I'm guessing he's not coming here for the minimum, or am I wrong?
Well, so we don't know about that part of it so far, Guardsy. I would say I'm not going to speak for LeBron. I will say that Shams Charania, my good friend and now ESPN guy, he's really connected to the LeBron camp, and he has said that LeBron would be open to playing for the minimum in the right situation. Does that mean Minnesota? I don't know. And so there is a possibility that it's the minimum. It sure is a possibility. I would also imagine that if LeBron James tells you that he wants to come and play for you, maybe you're open to doing things from a move standpoint to open up more money than you would be than you wouldn't be for anybody else. And I'm talking about, would you attach Terrence Shannon Jr. to Josh Green to get someone to take on that contract and open up some more avenues? That's a possibility, but I really don't know what exactly the Wolves have pitched there. I don't know what LeBron wants. And so I do think that, you know, obviously that would become clear if you were to give them the green light. But, there is a scenario where he says, you know what, I will come here, and I believe the reason I'm coming here is because I think I have the best chance to win here. And so I'm going to give everyone the most flexibility financially to build around me. That's a possibility, but I really don't understand how that will all work until, that actually unfolds.
A couple of things off the LeBron topic. What is the lesson, or what have you observed about the Jaylen Brown trade?
Shocking. To see what, because I did report early on in the process of this summary before the LaMelo trade, Guardsy, that, the Wolves did reach out to Boston and talked about, seeing what the market was or what they were looking for Jaylen Brown. And they were told that the price was incredibly high. And I'm talking like Rudy, Nas, picks, maybe a young player as well, like a lot. And so the Wolves at that time were like, that's too much for us. We don't want to pay that price for a player who is a really, really good player, but we're not even sure exactly how that fits with Anthony Edwards as well. And so they quickly moved on to LaMelo Ball and got a deal done that they love. But it is clear that the market completely fell apart for Jaylen Brown. And I really do think that Brad Stevens, a very good general manager for the Boston Celtics, whether he overplayed his hand or misjudged things or whatever, I just don't think that there's any real justification for the deal that they got. I would have just waited till later in the summer, wait till the start of the year and just see if something better comes along, because you could always go to Philly and say, yes, we'll take Paul George and a pick for Jaylen Brown, and that would be it. So I don't know exactly what made them say we have to move now, but it's a bad deal. There's no other way to put it. What
have you made about the analytics? It's almost like a baseball argument, the analytics battle between I'm trying to think, was it Bobby Marks that had the tweet about the person said he was their seventh best player, which is ludicrous. And he also had the ball in his hands, I'm guessing, a lot. I'm guessing his efficiency numbers weren't great because he was kind of their only guy. But what have you made about that whole, seems like a referendum almost on the new age stats, the counting stats? Jaylen Brown's bitter about it, which I understand. What are we learning about that, or what's the observation there?
Yeah, it feels like this is the new front for analytics versus hoopers kind of conversation, and that's been going on forever and ever. This one, I have a real hard time kind of siding with the nerds on this one, to be honest, Guards. Yes, when you look at the numbers, the Celtics have been better when he's off the floor than on the floor over the last, I think, 6 out of the last 8 years. That's a kind of a glaring number that you look at, but I just think that, look at common sense. I mean, they lost their best player last year in Jason Tatum, and they still won 56 games. That's not in spite of Jaylen Brown. That's got to be because of Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's the finals MVP. They've won a championship. They've been deep into the playoffs a lot with him. And so I understand that maybe the numbers aren't favorable to him, but the wins are. And at some point you have to look at it and say, hey, maybe at least in this case that something isn't lining up. And so I just think that it's become a very heated debate, and there are some very stubborn people in the analytic community that are just really digging in their heels here and saying, no, like Jaylen Brown actually isn't that good, when all of the winning that the Celtics have done has said otherwise. And I'm just like, I'm going to lean a lot more towards the eye test, because the eye test is what gets people paid and what gets people trophies. And he's passed that with flying colors over his entire career, really.
A couple of quickies, couple of bullet points here at the end. We've gotten a lot of texts about Kevin Love making a return to Target Center and the Timberwolves. Are we considering that?
I don't see it, Guardsy. Number one, I think he's going back to Utah. He's got a great relationship with the ownership group there, really likes it there. He's kind of settled with his family there. So I think that is where I would lean toward him going. And secondly, I mean, he is what he is at this point. I know he shot a good percentage last year. I know he rebounded fairly well, but he is not going to be the difference for the Timberwolves going into next season. He would play sparingly, just as he played sparingly with Utah, and just as he's kind of played sparingly over the last several years of his career. Loved Kevin Love to death, but he's not making a difference for you right now, especially in the playoffs, which is what this team is trying to gear up toward. And so I understand that there's a need at power forward, but I don't think Kevin Love is the guy. That's the correct answer. Are the Wolves amenable to Bronny also joining if they get LeBron? That I don't know. When you look at it, what I can say is I think that Tim Connolly was one person who did not put his nose up at Bronny in the draft back when he was picked by the Lakers in the second round. I've had some conversations, and I don't think that he is as down on Bronny as a lot of people are and were at the time. That doesn't mean that they would get a deal done for Bronny. There could be a situation where LeBron thinks, hey, maybe it's time for Bronny to go his own way and find his own kind of path in this and try to become a player with the Lakers. But I would, if LeBron says, hey, Timberwolves, I will come if you go get Bronny, I think they would do everything they could to go get Bronny. But I haven't heard that as something that is kind of factoring into all of this. Yeah, that would be the right answer too. If he says, I need Bronny to come with me, you say, okay, what about Bryce? Is your daughter good? We'll bring them all. Right, yeah, exactly. If that's what you want. Lastly, this is from Mike from section 133. Has Jonny been able to use back channels yet to communicate to LeBron's camp the wonders of tasty pizza and the National Sports Center? Not yet, but I'm going to be out there at the Sports Center this weekend with my daughter at the USA Cup, and so maybe I'll snap a few photos and send them along. Maybe people who have watched my Twitter account saw a post in Lake Country and a picturesque scene of the landscape, and hoping that King James was watching and keeping an eye on things. And I'm imagining that sits really high up on his priority list of what I think about Minnesota and some of the nice photos that I take. But hey, if it will get him here and get me a huge story to write, I'll be all for it. So watch out for some blazing hot photos of the U11 soccer girls going at it this weekend against teams from all over the region and the world. I assume Kat will be there again, right? I mean, it's about that time. I assume Kat will be there to cheer her on. Hey, I'm not going to rule it out. Yeah. Not going to rule it out at this point. I think he's kind of busy these days. He seems to be taking a world tour, but maybe he'll pop in and check it out and see these girls again. He did it once before, so why not? I love it. Great stuff, man. We will be following you. Everybody's refreshing you right now because it's the Wolves. And if it's the Wolves, it's Jonny Athletic. You're the best, dude. Have a good week. Enjoy the USA Cup, and we'll see you soon. All right. Thanks, Cardsy. That is John Krasinski making his weekly appearance on the Bumper to Bumper show thanks to RBC Wealth Management. We got a quick segment with our World Cup correspondent, Brett Blakemore. Who's in, who's out for Team USA and Belgium as we are within an hour of kickoff in the round of 16.
Justin Guard.
Summary mystery prizes are back, and we're bringing them to you all summer long. You can come grab yours at KFAN events throughout the summer, wherever you see our KFAN street team. Make sure to redeem them at Mall of America for fun prizes and big discounts. See full list of events now, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Scene is lively outside Lumen Field. We're 51 minutes away from USA-Belgium, a game you can hear right here on the Fan. The pregame show starts right when we are done at 6:30. Cake Show edition of Bumper to Bumper today. Guardsy and Brett Blakemore here. World Cup correspondent Brett Blakemore is going to give us a final preview in a minute. But we have not talked to any Minnesota Wild today, but I think a lot of that is because there's nothing to note, right? Really, that was new over the weekend.
We're just waiting.
We're just waiting for Dylan Larkin. We're waiting to see what's going on with Quinn Hughes. I know Russo put out a big piece, I think this morning, like first thing, he and Joe Smith talking about that it's going to be a new look Wild. Like they are letting go of some of the old guard, right? You trade Midzi, Zuccarello's going to L.A., like a lot of the names we got used to the last few years. Johansson's in Sweden. Tarasenko, I think they're going to let walk as well. He wants to get, talking about Guerin, younger, possibly faster. And we'll see. But those are the two big things, right? Larkin and Hughes. But Larkin trade and the Hughes extension. Other than that, am I missing anything?
Not really, unless some miraculous, Austin Matthews decides to change his mind and declare he wants a trade, which I don't see that happening, at least for the time being, or a Jack Hughes. But basically, that's it. We're waiting on How much is Quinn going to cost us? Is it going to be the 3 years that everyone talks about? And can we get a number one center in Dylan Larkin?
All right. So how are we feeling inside of 50 minutes before the match starts? U.S. and Belgium, round of 16. The winner advances to take on Spain Friday night. That match is in Los Angeles. Spain beat Portugal, right? 1-0 today?
Mm-hmm, that's correct.
1-0, excuse me. Give me the mood, the vibe check as a guy to set the scene who's wearing the Pulisic jersey right now. Pulisic kit. What's the mood? What's the vibe?
I'm nervous. The closer we get, the more nervous I'm getting because they are a good team. And this is by far the best team that we've played. Let's see. What are they in the FIFA rankings? They're 9 in the FIFA rankings compared to our 17. And they've got world-class players with talent that we just don't have. We have class, guys that play over in Europe. I mentioned that 9 out of our 11 starters play over in Europe and play for good clubs and big leagues. I think the 2 remaining play in the MLS, which would be our keeper, and then Tim Ream plays in the MLS, but everyone else plays in Europe. So Belgium has better players, so it's a different class above some of the guys over there. Doku plays for Man City, which is like, the Yankees. De Bruyne played for Man City for a long time. They've got guys that played in the Premier League. The problem is that neither one of those guys are starting, and we don't really know why, whether it's we haven't been playing well this tournament, so we're going to sit you and try something different.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah, or it's we're going to bring them on in the 60th minute when they're fresh as a daisy, and you're not going to have anything, and we're just going to hold you off for 60 minutes. We'll see how it plays out, but the U.S. are playing. There's no changes. Balogun's playing. He's starting. Let's play.
And with Balogun, for people that missed it, his red card has been suspended. He is eligible. Whatever appeal process there was for Belgium, they're kind of claiming we didn't technically appeal. We asked you to look into it. That opened up an appeal. The appeal was denied. So Balogun's playing. Belgium's pissed. Who was it? Pierre or Trudel that basically said, did we wake a sleeping giant? A team that's been kind of sluggish, like you said, hasn't played great up to this point in the tournament. Are we worried of the emotional reaction? Now, Belgium's coming in here. I mean, you can see the scenes in Seattle. It's absurd, as you would expect for this World Cup match. Are you worried about the nobody believes in us factor, and we got the short end of the stick factor that Belgium will be playing with tonight?
There certainly will be some of that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a hard tackle on Balogun at some point tonight.
Really? Send a message.
Wouldn't shock me at all. But I think that the home field advantage, the scenes that you're seeing outside in Seattle, I think that should carry the U.S. And also, we're used to having everyone else mad at us. This is not a new everyone rooting against us. You ever watch the Olympics? No one is rooting for Team USA in the Olympics besides us. So this is not newfound territory.
It is for the soccer team, though. It is for the soccer team to be. I mean, people are basically saying they're a privileged group now. They're a made group of men that they are on the right side of a controversial FIFA decision, not a place that we've lived historically, correct? That is true. It's nice to have a favorable decision go your way. And obviously we're hosting the damn thing, too, so that in and of itself, it's a favorable decision. It is, in that sense, I suppose it is, but what's not is everyone from the outside world and in Europe rooting against us. That's pretty standard operating procedure. So, but this, I'm still nervous because they played 3 months ago, and Belgium wiped the floor with us. And how did they do that? What were they better at than we were?
We didn't have that organized. To be honest, I thought at least 25% of it was the kit matchup was just horrendous. It was. You'll see the Belgian, they're wearing their kind of whites, and it's almost like a turquoise blue mix, and we're wearing our dark blues tonight. Well, we were not doing that in that warm up. And it was basically white on white, and no one had any clue. Even the players were like, this was horrible. You think they were confused? You think part of the reason we didn't play well is because of the uniform confusion? I mean, maybe 15%. Is that what the 15? What's the number, the percentage number that's going to get you into PST? And are you trying to get into the PST tournament right now? I'm not trying. I have been taking preposterone. The uniform matchup. If you go back and watch that game, it was terrible. The players were talking about it, but I think that's only 15% of it. They just had more talent that day, and the U.S. were not as organized as they have been playing this tournament. But it's a battle of Belgium, I think, has better top players than we do, but we've had a better tournament than they have. They have not looked good at any stage. They were down They should have lost the last game, that a miracle comeback against Senegal. So which one will prevail, the recent form or their overall talent? I guess we'll find out.
So
they could easily lose this game, the U.S., which sucks.
Do you agree with, so is this kind of the Super Bowl tonight? Because Trudell and Pierre Nugent, who joined in the first couple of hours of the show, Mike Trudell, they believe that this is the match, and then it's found money against Spain. Spain's going to be the heavy favorite. That's probably where the dream dies. So is that why? And that could be true. I like to be more optimistic. I've always been so optimistic about the U.S. men's soccer team. Enjoy the tournament.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about the finish line. But that's why tonight feels really big, right? Because it'd be something they haven't done in forever. It's, you know, maybe maximizing what you can do in this tournament. It's hard to think that a round of 16 loss with everything that's come before it here and how the last few weeks have gone would be a disappointment. But so how are you feeling about that whole thing? Like, let's just get through this, take our chances with Spain. You're on your own after that. But tonight is just like, would be unbelievable to win.
To me, I think if tonight represents the line of, is it a good tournament or a great tournament? I think if they lose tonight,
I like it.
it would still be a good tournament. And I think they played well. They showed that they're a quality team with a bunch of talent and skill. I understand that, you know, they didn't play a murderer's row. Paraguay did upset Germany, so there is that. Australia and Turkey, they played with their backups. I understand the quality of opponents wasn't unbelievable, but they looked, the eye test showed that they dominated these teams. So, and that's something that the U.S., they would have to claw and scratch just to get a result in any other past World Cup. So from that perspective, I think it's a good World Cup, even if they lose tonight. If they win tonight, it's a great World Cup. We made it to the quarterfinals. We knocked out one of the big boys, and you're on your own after that with Spain.
I hope that this was not the last time that we have you on to preview a United States World Cup match as the World Cup correspondent on Bumper to Bumper. If it is, it's been a magical ride. You've been great at it.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for all you've done for it, and we hope we can preview another match on Friday.
We'll see you in Spain and Portugal in 2030.
That is World Cup correspondent Brett Blakemore with his final thoughts on the U.S. match tonight against Belgium, a match you can hear right here on The Fan. We'll put the finishing touches on this show. Remind you that Dan's back tomorrow. What's coming up on the program when we come back?
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
American Pressure brings us this commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975. Kind of a two-track program today. A lot of World Cup, a lot of LeBron James. We did touch on briefly the fact that the Twins won a series against the New York Yankees in Yankee Stadium. First time in forever that has happened. And it immediately sparked a bunch of, will the Yankees trade for Joe Ryan in a couple of weeks? That's kind of what happened there. But good for them. Twins are 3 games below 500 now. But it was a lot of World Cup, as you can imagine. You never know when it's going to end. It could end tonight. We've milked this thing for the last 3 weeks. We would love to continue to milk it for another week. If the U.S. wins tonight, they will take on Spain on Friday. That will be interesting for Dan's return. His new love, the U.S. men's soccer team against La Roja. The Tiki-Taka versus the Pentagon. The Tiki-Taka versus the Pentagon. We talked with Pierre Nugent, my buddy from Fox 9 Sports, big soccer guy, about to be a dad. We got some great advice. The Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line 64686 for him as his fatherhood journey begins here in the next couple of weeks. Mike Trudell, longtime Lakers reporter and another great soccer mind, played at Northwestern, played at Orono. He joined at 4:30, talked about the World Cup, talked a lot of LeBron and LaMelo with Mike Trudell, as a guy who's covered the NBA for multiple decades, and Jonny Athletic made his